Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Intelligent Training Holistic Health. We are your hosts, James and Francesca, and today we are discussing a few strategies for fat loss. So, as I'm coming to the end, or I've come to the end of my fat loss diet, I've come to the end of the 10 weeks, and quite frankly, I'm not happy with where I am.
Except you've lost exactly the amount that
Yep.
you wanted to lose.
Yep, this is very true. Very true. But oftentimes, you have to lose a lot more than you think to get crazy lean.
Yeah. But you're in a great shape now.
Okay, shape.
But you're just looking to get to that.
Yeah, next level.
Next level.
The unhealthy lean.
Yeah, just to get there, just to not for a competition, but to show, and then obviously come back to a little more normal.
Yeah. Yeah, so at the moment, I'm pretty lean at the moment. I don't know what percent body fat I am. I'm pretty lean. So I lost the 20 pounds. I gave myself a target of 20 pounds to lose in 10 weeks. And I've lost exactly that. So I was aiming for 1.9 pounds per week. So that's what I was aiming for, and that's what we hit. So with that calculation, I was going for, with clients at least, or my clients and myself, I aim for around 0.5 to 1% of total body weight lost per week. So that was my goal. So I was going a bit more on the more harsher end. So obviously the 1%. Because I know if I try and do it for too long, I'm more prone to lose a bit more muscle. So I went a bit harder, so I didn't have to do quite as long. And it worked well, but obviously not as well as I wanted.
And why not as well as you wanted it to?
Well, just not as lean as what I thought I was going to be. I thought, so the leanness I'm going for, I want to see veins in my abs. But I just miscalculated how much it would take. So this usually happens, especially with like physique competitors. It just takes a lot more. You have to lose a lot more than you think you have to lose. So I'm gonna go for about another 6 pounds. So I'm gonna go for the next 3 weeks until we go to America. I'll aim to drop 6 pounds. But once you're already pretty lean, losing 6 pounds obviously isn't that much. But once you're lean, it'll look more.
Yeah.
So it looks a lot. It's a lot more noticeable once you're already lean.
And then pile it back on when we get.
And then chub back up. And there you go.
So it'll be.
Yeah.
Gotta try. Well, no, it won't be that bad, but.
No, it won't be bad. No. It won't. I'll be able to handle it. But during those times, once I come maybe out of the calorie deficit, I come back to maintenance, or I just add a bit more food in, maybe above maintenance. That's when you start looking the best, because your muscle starts to fill back up with glycogen and you start to swell up and you're lean at the same time. And that's when you look the best.
Yeah.
So I should look probably the best in America.
And what you're doing, like the 20 weeks, the 20 pounds that you've dropped, and you want to get leaner for a little while and then go back to like a more to a maintenance calories. What you're doing, the amount that you lost per week is on the larger scale in terms of dropping weight per week. For if you're talking about the majority of our clients.
So if you went for 0.5% per week, that would be a pound. And that is a very good way to lose it.
Yeah. And obviously lifestyle, different things fluctuate. But what you're doing or what you're currently doing is more the extreme. But just like what we're talking about today, the strategies that to get you there, those are the same kind of strategies that we would use with clients. Except you're just calculating it over a shorter period and a more extreme way. And
because I know my body so well.
Because you know your body so well. And also, I think it's a good thing to just understand is what I was saying to someone earlier as well, is that you do know your body really well. But back before you had MyFitnessPal or any of these apps, you used to have a massive diary. I think we've spoken about this before, where you manually calculated all of your calories. And I know over time, your consumption changes somewhat, or because lifestyle's different to what it would have been however many years ago you did that. But you've done so many things like this, you know your body so well, so you didn't count a single calorie doing this fat loss diet.
Nothing at all.
Because you have spent enough time doing that in the past and enough different things to understand the quantity of food that you're taking in and roughly have a guesstimate of the amount of protein you're intaking and what's the right ratios.
That's exactly it,
So,
and then just slowly taper down over the 10 weeks.
But going in, most clients that we have never done it before, or diets have never worked long term for them because they don't understand the underlying principles of how to get into a fat loss phase, maintain it for a certain amount of time sustainably, and then go back to maintenance in order to not go back to where they began the fat loss.
So the 3 strategies that I'll use with clients, or we'll use with clients or ourselves, is either calorie counting, like what we were just saying, which I didn't do, but I feel calorie counting, if you've never calorie counted, spending 2 weeks to a month counting all the calories, all the foods you eat, is probably one of the best things you can do for your nutrition.
And it's important to say, like, it's not forever, but like, you go on the internet now and you can go to any camp you want for and against loads of things, can't you? But you can go to the camp and people are like, oh, you shouldn't count calories, it's too obsessive, it's this and that, and a lot of people, if it is, you'll know yourself if you're getting too obsessed with it. But I think it's a really important strategy, because it's really difficult, and it's nobody's fault, but nobody has any idea of
what's in food. Yeah, that's it. This is what I like to do with my clients as well. So when I onboard clients, I'll always try and get them, especially in a fat loss phase, I'll get them to count calories. And then once we're on like phone calls throughout the weeks, whatever it is, then I'll shoot a food at them and get them to tell me the main macronutrient. So then if I say to a client, what's the main macronutrient of a potato? They'll say carbs. Or if I say, what's the main macronutrient of a steak? They'll say protein. So then you just get to know so then they start actually knowing what is in food, so then you can test it that way.
Because I also feel like if you're vegan or vegetarian as well, you get advertised with, oh, nuts and pulses are really good protein for you. But actually, if you put them in a category, nuts are predominantly fat with very little protein. And pulses and that are predominantly carbs. So people get this skewed view of what's in it, and they get very confused, and then they wonder, I remember vegan client saying to me, oh, well, I don't eat any carbs. And I was like, I was thinking, what the hell do you eat then?
What are you eating?
And then she quickly said, oh, I have quinoa and I have this and that and couscous and blah blah blah. And I was like, well, that is predominantly carbs. I thought that was protein. I was like, no. I was like, it's just because it's been advertised for you. So I think it's really important to do the calorie counting and macronutrient checks.
And that,
not to get obsessive, but to really understand the education behind what is in your food. What are you fueling your body with? So then you're in a better position to play around with those things, especially when you're out, with family or at events and things. Then you're in more control of your diet.
100%. And then if so this is like clients will be on the road. I'll say, like, you're going to need a bit more protein, you're going to need a bit more, whatever it is, a bit more fat. Then they can immediately go into one of the little petrol stations, and they know exactly what to go for because they know exactly what's in the food. So then you're not going to be thinking, oh, what am I going to get this sandwich? Am I going to get this? You're umming and ahhing because you don't have a clue what's in the food. So taking 2 weeks to a month, if you've never calorie counted, that will be the biggest thing you can do for your nutrition. Just to start understanding what is in food is so big. So that's the first strategy, is calorie counting. So again, all these strategies, you have to be in a calorie deficit for fat loss. You have to be in a calorie deficit for them to work, but they are just strategies to put you into a calorie deficit.
And just to emphasize, that literally is it, calorie deficit, isn't it? Like there's things that can slow down your fat loss, make it tougher for you. But at the end of the day, all of those things, whether they make it tougher or not, if you're not in a calorie deficit, there's no magical reason other than that why you're not losing weight.
Yeah, no, you won't be burning the fat. So these are just strategies to put you in a calorie deficit.
Yeah.
So the first one was calorie counting, as we explained. Second one is diet restriction. So this is just restricting certain things in your diet. So this is what I did for my 10-week diet. So I just restricted certain foods out of my diet. This isn't to say that you can never have those foods, but certain foods, like I would eat a lot of crisps, like I mentioned before, and crisps are very calorie dense, but they do nothing for satiation. So they don't fill you up at all. So they're so easy to eat, and they're a lot of calories, and they're not keeping me full. So when I need to be eating in a calorie deficit, I know I need to be eating things that will keep me full, will keep me satiated, while not having many calories in them. So this is why during my diet, I stuck to a lot more vegetables, a lot more salads, and then just have my protein and my fats kind of on the sides. So I just know I need more protein. I know I need a decent amount of protein at each meal. I'd eat 4 times a day, and I would aim for around 40 grams of protein each meal. And there's a lot of reasons why I do this. So you maximize muscle protein synthesis to keep muscle around, and then you have a certain amount of feedings throughout the day. So there's certain reasons you'll do these things, but for this, oh, hello, Forrest. But for, what was I saying? Useless.
Put a certain amount of calories.
Oh yeah, so the diet restriction. So yeah, so it's just restricting your diet for certain foods. So if you are in a calorie deficit, then you want to be eating things that are going to keep you fuller and aren't as calorie dense. And then the third strategy is time restriction. So this is more kind of intermittent fasting. This is very good for certain clients that are very busy and they don't miss having, for example, breakfast. So an easy way to get rid of a decent amount of calories to put you in a calorie deficit is completely eliminating one meal.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel hungry in the morning, you don't have to eat breakfast. Breakfast is by no means the most important meal of the day. That's all nonsense. You don't have to have breakfast. So if you wake up and you don't feel very hungry, then skipping breakfast completely and then having a lunch is a great way to put yourself in a calorie deficit, because you're completely getting rid of one entire meal.
Yeah. I also think time restricted eating is quite a good strategy for shift workers.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing different shifts, evening shifts, daytime shifts, like if you're constantly swapping, it can really mess up your eating windows.
Yeah,
so
for
sometimes
sure.
That's a really helpful way, because otherwise you're just eating probably continuously all over the shop.
Yeah, and that's it. So these are the main 3 strategies that we'll implement with clients.
Yeah.
And it's very dependent on a client's lifestyle as to which one we're going to implement.
Yeah.
So, and it can change. So I've had clients go through all 3.
Yeah.
So they've gone from time restriction, they've gone to diet restriction, and then final weeks they maybe go to count calories.
I think that's really important as well to highlight, is that if you wanted to use any of these strategies, you don't have to pick one and then and marry it and stay to it.
Yeah.
If it's working for you for a time, brilliant.
Yeah.
If you're then finding your lifestyle is slightly changing and you've got other circumstances arise and you need to switch it because something else would actually better suit your lifestyle. That's the whole point of these being diet strategies, is that you find the one that fits your lifestyle. I think everyone's looking for the magic one, and people aren't open to changing their mind or being adaptable.
No.
And that's really important with dieting, is to be able to be adaptable.
That's the most important.
And to swap certain things around and not feel that if you have to stick to one thing, one way of doing it, and if you don't, then you failed.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
And this is where yo-yo dieting comes in. This is where people they'll feel that they fail, so they'll just give up, binge eat, and then be like, oh crap, I've gained all this weight, I'm gonna have to go into another diet, and then the same thing happens again.
Yeah.
So your diets are always going to evolve as well.
Yeah.
So my diet 10 years ago is different to what it is now, and then in 10 years time it'll probably be different again.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be changing, and every diet will work if you adhere to the calorie deficit. So if you eat less than you burn, then you're going to lose weight.
I also think, and this is just completely personal, this is nothing other than my own personal approach to food and dieting, having a certain way of eating is, and you'll like it as well, because obviously we're quite similar, is that we don't really have much emotion over food.
Yeah.
You know, we look at, most importantly, are we fulfilling our health needs?
Yeah.
When we're looking at what food we're eating in the day, is it fulfilling my health needs?
Yeah.
I'm not that bothered by, obviously there's like times we'll be like, I really fancy bread, and I really fancy eggs today, or I fancy this and that. You fancy maybe certain dishes sometimes, but the majority of the time we just approach our food choices with
what we need,
what our body needs to
our
fuel.
Plate is made up. We always go protein, what fat source we're having, what carbs we're having, don't we?
Yeah,
and we just build it around that. So it sounds, but it sounds very boring, but you can actually make it taste really good. And then this is the thing about learning more and more about nutrition. Then you start looking at food differently.
I think so, yeah, because I don't ever, if somebody sat there having, what's a popular meal? I don't know.
Spaghetti bolognese.
Again, I would definitely pass that every time because I just find it quite bland. But yeah, spaghetti bolognese seems to be quite a popular one. If someone sat there having that and I decide to have a plate of chicken and, I don't know, stir-fried vegetables with like some potatoes or anything, something that looks really simple, I would definitely fancy that dish more than a spaghetti bolognese.
That's probably because we've been,
but I've done it for so long. I just enjoy it. It's the same as we discuss this all the time. Most of the time now, I love a cake, but I only love it once in a while because otherwise it doesn't feel as tasty anyway. But if we fancy something sweet, or we want something nice like a dessert after dinner, our desserts are usually some kind of Greek yogurt or protein pudding thing with like blueberries and other fruits in, and that to me is a really enjoyable dessert.
It is nice, but then again, like, we're just eating, we need a certain amount of protein, we're doing that, aren't we?
Yeah, but I also, if somebody put a gun to my head and put that and, I don't know, some kind of other dessert that's popular in front of me, like a cheesecake, because of my approach to food, I wouldn't feel like I'm missing out on that cheesecake to have the Greek yogurt. I would just, because of the way I think, I'd automatically just want the Greek yogurt. And it's also, you get a lot more volume, and I'm a volume foodie, really. I like a lot on my plate, so you could have a lot more Greek yogurt and fruits and whatever for less calories than a slice of cheesecake. So for me, I just eat with my eyes a lot and go, oh, that's a lot of, and that makes me, and because it makes you feel more satiated. So it's just, but I never feel like I'm missing out. So I think that's just come over time, because I remember back when maybe being more like a teenager and maybe going up and down a little bit in weight because you go on a diet and you go off the diet, and maybe feeling like I was sacrificing and missing out on things. Whereas now we've learned about the health and wellness aspect, it changes my approach to how I eat and how I want to eat, not how I think I should eat because I'm getting to X goal.
And that's the thing, it's up to the goal as well. So if you have a goal of, for example, like me, for the past 10 weeks, I'm on a diet break now. So this week I'm on a diet break, so my calories are back up to maintenance, so I have more calories to utilize. So now I'm eating more, aren't I? I'm having more yogurts. I'm having more dinner. I'm having more bread. I'm having just more of everything. But next week, or for the next 3 weeks, I know I'm not going to be able to have certain things. I'm going to have to cut them back out because I have a goal of losing X amount per week. And then that's the thing as well. Once you are on a diet, or if you have a goal, specific goal you're trying to get to, then you need to pick your poison as well. So I know I can eat kind of what I want. I can drink what I want, but I know I have to limit it. So if I'm going to, for example, if I go out with my friends after we'll play tennis and we'll go out, I know I can't have the chicken wings anymore because they're over 1,000 calories.
That's ridiculous.
Which is insane, but they are delicious. But I know I can go out and have a couple beers with them. I can have 2 or 3 beers and that's completely fine. But if I was to do the chicken wings and the beers, then I'd screw my entire week and I'm not going to lose any weight. So that's what I'd previously do before I was in this diet. I would have the wings, I'd have a few beers, and then things would just add up. But because I have this goal, I have to pick my poison. So I know I can't have the chicken wings. but I can have a few beers. Okay, so that's one of the things as well. Know that you have to be willing to sacrifice certain things. You can eat what, like everyone says, you can eat whatever you want, you can drink whatever you want, but you can't drink as much or eat as much as you want.
Yeah, it's the quantity, isn't it? The
quantity is it.
Can stay the same. You can still have alcohol in your diet. You can still have certain foods in your diet, your favorite foods, but you have to look at the quantity. And sometimes some people, let's use, I don't know, biscuits for an example. You can say, of course you can have biscuits within your diet and still lose weight.
Yeah.
But if you are the type of person that cannot just have one biscuit,
yeah,
and you know that, but you want to diet, you want to lose fat, then you have to make the decision to just completely sacrifice that and take it out.
Yeah.
Because if you can't have one at the moment, right now, it's just too hard to have one, and you know that you're just going to go back for more, then unfortunately you just have to get rid of that food entirely.
Don't put it in your house, yeah.
Yeah.
Because who has just one biscuit anyway? Probably, I don't know, serial killers. So, yeah, no one can just have one biscuit anyway. And Dorian Yates was famous. He used to, the week before Mr. Olympia, so this is a big bodybuilder, and they get to ridiculous percentage body fat. Yeah, just crazy lean. And he used to wake up from a nightmare thinking that he had gone downstairs and eaten all the junk food in the house. But then he'd wake up from the nightmare and be like, thankfully, I don't keep any junk food in the house, because he knows he'd probably eat it. Yeah. So probably one of the most disciplined people ever for dieting can't have those foods in the house. Don't have those foods in the house, because you're going to eat them.
How are we going to survive?
Yeah, how are we going to survive?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's it.
And then really, I think that leads on to really how much is too much sacrifice when dieting?
Yeah. It's person to person, very dependent.
Because for you were going on a bit more of an aggressive fat loss diet than, say, the majority of people we would put on, because we want a full behavior change.
Yeah.
So do you personally feel like you felt like you sacrificed a lot in order to get to the shape you are now?
Not massive amounts. I know I definitely have, because I'll be hungry. I'm a lot more hungry than usual. But no, because of the way I've done it, and I've just made sure the volume of vegetables has been there, I haven't felt as hungry as I could do. So no, I don't feel too deprived. But I feel so much better, even just losing 20 pounds. Like if you had seen me 10 weeks ago, you wouldn't necessarily think that I needed to lose 20 pounds. It's pretty chubby, but maybe not 20 pounds chubby. But just from losing just the 20 pounds, I feel so much better already. So just the health trade-offs that I feel from maybe being a little bit more satisfied with food, I feel the health benefits of...
I don't know if we talked about it on the last podcast, but when you were 20 pounds heavier, there would not be a night that went by that you did not snore.
Yeah.
And I honestly, because at first it used to be just when you'd had alcohol, a few beers or something, and obviously you just snore a lot, and I'm always shoving you, telling you to shush. But then it was just happening all the time.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you all the time. I didn't really notice that you were a lot bigger, even though I knew you were intentionally trying to put on body fat and gain muscle as well, just to, obviously to get to the point where you're now just going into that deficit. I didn't really notice it as much because I see you every day.
Yeah.
But the thing I did notice, but I didn't put the two together, was that you were snoring all the time, and I just thought that it was age.
Yeah.
I literally thought, is this what happens? You just get to an age and then you just start doing these things like snoring. And then it wasn't even that many pounds in to your fat loss.
No, and started going.
Completely.
Yeah.
And now you don't snore at
all.
It's
crazy. And that's one of the biggest things people who have sleep apnea is for being overweight.
And it's not even that much.
It's not even that much.
Say you were overweight.
No,
it had a massive effect on your breathing at night.
Yeah, it's crazy. So even I have my Oura ring's broken at the moment, but imagine my sleep numbers have gone up.
Yeah.
Just from being just generally healthier. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Be interesting once I get my bloods done again.
Yeah, and that as well.
Yeah.
You were when last time you had it done, you were already a bit up on the body fat and
I was jumped up a bit.
Yeah. So
it'll be interesting.
Yeah. But I think that's the important thing as well, is that I think people either feel like they need to sacrifice everything, which is too much, into a diet. Whatever diet strategy you're following, you don't need to go crazy on the sacrifice, but you
have to sacrifice some. Yeah, you have to sacrifice,
because otherwise you're not going to change. You're going to, people always advertise, I want to eat the same things and I want to drink the same things, but I really want to lose fat.
Yeah.
And I think you can, but of course you need to change the quantity.
Yeah, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Exactly. But you actually do have to change those things in order to get that goal. Otherwise, and if you don't, then maybe you just don't want that goal. You think you want it, but you actually don't.
Yeah, you just don't want it enough.
Or you don't want it enough. Yeah. So you do have to fully understand that when you are embarking on a fat loss journey, it's not going to be comfortable.
Nope.
It won't be easy. That doesn't mean it has to be grueling and...
No, it doesn't have to be a complete struggle. Like these 10 weeks haven't been a complete struggle at all. I've known I've sacrificed things, but still everything's fine. You're maybe a little bit tired, more tired than usual because you haven't got that food coming in for the energy. And there's a few other things, but really not bad at all.
Yeah. But then on the flip side, like you said, your energy ends up being
better. Yeah, you feel it's so true. Yeah, it's only when you get into the end of your gym workout, when you're in the gym, the last like 20 minutes, you'll start feeling it, but you still got the willpower to push through, so it's all fine.
But you are also someone who trains really hard, but can also, without anyone training pushing you, you can push yourself to like collapsing yourself. You don't need anyone to do that, which I think is
that's probably some years of doing it.
I don't think many people can do that.
No, but that's
somebody pushing them to get to that level. I think that's just you and your own. But I would say,
and the two truths I would say of fat loss is, if you're gonna go on a fat loss journey, you're gonna be hungry, but just accept it. That's fine. You don't have to be full all the time. And the next one is, when your weekends start looking like your weekdays, that's usually when you start losing weight.
Yeah.
So normally people really good through the week, get to the weekends and screw everything up.
Yeah.
So once your weekends start looking just like your weekdays, that's when you're really going to start making progress.
And it is the weekends, and people severely miscalculate their weekends, because if you use the chicken wings as an example, like imagine they went out for the weekend and they went and had a plate of chicken wings. You'd look at the size of the chicken wings, and then you'd look at what chicken wings usually are calorie wise without the spicy chicken wings that you order, and you might put it into my fitness plan and go, well, it's only like a few hundred calories, but actually the ones there are 1,000.
The more 1,100.
There you go. And that can literally,
without sauce,
that could put you into a complete surplus.
You'll be in the surplus, so you can start gaining weight.
Exactly.
So it is that easy to go over. And then the same with alcohol, because obviously just drinking it just bumps your calories up, no satiation, so again, so easy to go over.
Which is why I think diet strategy number one of counting your calories is probably one of the best. Doesn't have to be for very long, but just enough to start to educate yourself about how much is in food, what is in food. Just to give you an idea of what's in food. That's the best thing to do. And then for me personally, diet restriction has been the best for me, because I don't want to bother counting things. All I want to do is just take a few things on my diet, so I know I will start dropping the weight. And then time restriction is also a great one, because that can give you the extra little bit of discipline at night if it gets to a certain time and you shouldn't be eating after that time. That's a great way to kind of stick to your guns, to stick in a deficit. Very true. That's it. And that is it. I think that's it. Forrest looks like he wants to go out for a walk. I think we need to take this one out. We do indeed. Hopefully you can ask us any questions about the diet restrictions further if you wish. Just drop them in comments if it's on YouTube, or I don't know how you do it on Spotify. I think you can comment on Spotify. We'll figure it out. If you know, please tell us. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers, everyone.